Warm greetings, and today I'm going to continue my favorite topic, women in the leadership role, and what it means to have women in the leadership role. Let's start with congratulating the Indian women's cricket team that won the World Cup just day before. There's rejoice all over the country and in fact around the world. Now imagine a situation that BCCI and ICC chief to be Jhulan Goswami and Mithali Raj. Why not? Can you imagine? Although I'm not a big fan of cricket, but I want to bring the conversation to leadership in all fields of the country, management and governance. Uh, Now imagine if India will even see a day when the Prime Minister, the President, the Vice President, the Speakers of the Parliament are all women, and to even extend it to the point of Chief of all security forces, Air, Navy, Army, ISRO, CBI, RBI, EDI, ECI, and even the CJI or Chief Justice of India to be women at one point in time. Can you imagine this situation? I would like to dream, and I dare to dream this situation. I know it may take years to arrive to that situation, but if I don't dream, it is not even coming. But having women in the leadership position for tokenism is something that bothers me very often. And having women leadership for their leadership skills, for their traits, for the very reason why society should have it is a completely different discussion. I just want to give an example for both the situations here, that our first Chief Justice of India will be a woman in 2027, not even now, after 80 years of India's independence, and Justice B.V. Nagaratna will only serve for 36 days. So this is tokenism in women leadership. And if we look back in the history of India and also looking from the freedom struggle time, we barely know the women's contribution, and conveniently the history has missed acknowledging and appreciating the role, the instrumental role women played, except few, Rani Lakshmi Bai to Sarojini Naidu, Aruna Asaf Ali, Kamala Nehru, Annie Besant, Kasturba Gandhi, and just few more. And often Rani Lakshmi Bai is revered more because of her heroic deeds on the battlegrounds. Now, this is where I feel that the other freedom fighter women were overshadowed in the constellation of these male superstar freedom fighters. Not that I have any problem with them, but I am just arriving to my point here. It is from then only that we started missing building a situation of really having robust institution or a setup of elevating women leadership in the political discourse or in the political platform. Why I am saying this? I just look at a very small country, not so developed probably, but yes, Namibia is right now the first country in Africa with all women leadership at the top 3 government positions, the president, vice president, and the speaker of the parliament. I really wish to imagine this situation or dream this situation in India as soon as possible. We are far from it, but we are not impossible from it. Having said that, let's get through some of the statistics here. With nearly 33% reservation of women leadership in the parliament is already hanging as a debate, and we are so far to barely arrive even at hardly 13.63% in the total Lok Sabha seats in 2024, if I'm not wrong, if the numbers have not changed, with only 78 women MPs. We started actually from independence from 4.4% barely in 1950s, with a severely slow growth and progress as we see today standing at 13%. We did see a dip in 71 with 4%, even lesser than the independence time, to even the first time crossing to 10% in 2009. And the highest have ever been in 2019, but many of them again were in the tokenism situation as I talked about the Chief Justice of India. Likewise, if I look at the position of even our presidents in India, the highly compromised positions when the women presidents have been appointed. And I just want to give an example of Pratibha Patil and Draupadi Murmu here. Did we know even them when they were really nominated for president position? Uh, I think no. We were not knowing. I really checked the very night Draupadi Murmuji was appointed, nominated as a presidential candidate. She didn't even have a website. She didn't even have a Wikipedia page for that matter. Although that does not reduces her credibility to be a good politician and her impact in the society. I'm not saying that, but knowing a good leader or knowing leadership exists is a very important a step towards raising more women into the politics or raising more women into the leadership situation. At this moment, India's percentage of women in parliament lags behind the global average, placing it 149th out of 193 countries, which also tells that we are even behind many lesser developed countries than India in terms of women leadership. I do miss seeing some of the women in the highest office, for example. Um, uh, you know, I do miss seeing them in when they were in their best time. For example, Vijaya Raje Scindia, Jai Lalita, Sushma Swaraj, Sheila Dikshit. All these people would have really made very good position if they were given that opportunity. I would still don't mind having Mamta Banerjee, Vasundhara Raje Scindia, Kiran Bedi, even for the sake of tick boxing the women quota, though they are really highly competent women leaders in comparison to some of the very incompetent topmost men leaders of the country. So I'm really betting on the situation of dreaming or daring to dream a situation in the country, why we should dream of it to really arrive to this situation. And I want to give an example why we need women leadership in all positions, all field, all sectors. It's high time when the world is going through social ecological crisis, political crisis. There is war everywhere. There is water crisis. There is climate crisis. There is social injustices. There is gender injustice. There is generation injustice. In that time, I think women will bring a sense of relief. And I want to give an example of Catherine Connolly, an Irish politician who is recently elected as the new president of Ireland after her landslide victory. And mind you, she is an independent politician. And she makes it very clear in her opening speech when she says that she's independent woman even by her thinking and her mind, not only by her party representation. In her acceptance speech, which I really liked, and I want to bring forth to you to really make an argument why we need women leadership at least one time in all positions. And I quote her. I quote Catherine Connolly. I will be a president who listens and reflects and who speaks with its when it's necessary. I will be a voice for peace, a voice that builds on our policy of neutrality, a voice that articulates the existential threat posed by climate change, and a voice that recognizes the tremendous work being done, the length and breadth of the country. And the quote closed. For me, this is a very important point. I wish to make an argument why we need women politicians in women leader and women leadership in almost all spheres of life. We need women to talk about peace. We need women to talk about social injustice. We need women to talk about environmental injustice. And mind you, most of the crisis in the world, the crisis of ecology, crisis of war, crisis of discrimination, crisis of class, caste in the country, is all manipulated and manufactured. And that is where I only love one word about the man, that is man-made disaster. We really have to grow past that. And for that, what do we do? Do we really have to do women empowerment and development? My answer will be partly yes. We must do women empowerment and development. But actually, this point is incomplete unless and until we talk about men empowerment and development. And that includes men in politics, men in really not so good social stature who are doing all kinds of nasty things, including corruptions, including big businesses, including all these religious spiritual babas who are really make a mockery of the whole culture of this country. I really think that we need to grow past them. And I think we need to really have a ministry of men development and empowerment for them to grow some empathy, for them to grow some enlightenment, for them to learn, to educate, to accommodate women leadership in this country in any field, whether it is, as I mentioned, all of these names: ISRO, CBI, ECI, CJI. You can just keep on naming the organizations, IITs and IIMs and IITs, RBI, defense, and maybe why not more women prime ministers, presidents, and vice presidents. I strongly believe time has arrived. But when I look at the palette of women leadership in the country, I am a bit worried that actually we don't have enough names to have them on board there. And this is because of two reasons: that A, women themselves have really been patronized by men, but at the same time they are embracing patriarchy when they are rising the ladder of leadership. Then on the other hand, there is also, of course, a lot of competition. They have to compete with men in the leadership roles, and competition is not always a healthy competition. It is actually an ugly competition. Women cannot go so low, cannot be so corrupt to the extent of men. And I'm not saying that all women are good, all women leaders are good, and all male leaders are not so good, but I'm focusing on women leaders. I think few things that women have to keep in mind in the leadership role is, of course, they have to battle it out with the men, but at the same time, educating men is extremely important. And and another thing that women have to really learn to do in this whole process is to see how they can really bring that whole idea of sisterhood and nurture other young women leaders. Because what we learned from the yesterday's cricket tournament and winning streak is, this is a hard work laid by nearly 50 years of women's Indian cricket, and we saw the result yesterday. So if we really want to see the light of the day that I am dreaming of having women president, prime minister, vice president, chief of chief of election commission, chief of ISRO, chief of CBI, RBI, CJI, EDI, and many more IITs, IIMs, we really have to build a community of women leadership, and that can be done by not only the existing women leadership, but also some feministic male leaders who believes in the idea that women leadership is crucial for the society to bring in peace, to bring in harmony, to bring in unity in diversity, to address a lot of problems of the pollution, of environmental crisis, water crisis. And this can be only done by having good mentors around, which is also a leadership role played by both men and women. It's not only women alone. Unless and until we understand this fact that the half of the world and country's population is women, and the rest of the half is actually born by the woman. So we are in that sense majority, but we are a serious minority in the country in terms of freedom of expression, of thinking, freedom of leading. And this is why we need to educate men while we are doing lot of programs on empowering and development of women. I strongly believe we need ministry of men's development and empowerment to let the woman chart that path that I am dreaming of. With this, I'll close today. Very many things to talk about on this field and many other field, but some other day. Bye bye. Take care.